here goes the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Before we get into today's video, I want to start by saying that might be the craziest intro you'll ever see in one of my videos, and I really hope that's the case because that was a crazy day. This was supposed to be a fun semi-cross country motorcycle trip on my Yamaha TW200. I was going to do some camping, some fishing along the way, going from Idaho to South Dakota, and I was going to film it all for my video. A lot of camping, maybe catching cooks, camping food, all the different things that I like to do when I go camping, but try something different on a motorcycle. And I'm no stranger to toys. I've had a lot of different ATVs, snowmobiles, things like that, but I'm not so much a motorcycle guy. I've ridden some of my friends' motorcycles in the past, but I've never owned one. So I actually bought a different TW than what you see in this video, and I rode it for several months to try to get the hang of, you know, what it would be like to go on a trip like that. And I guess when I finally got everything ready to go and I took the trip, everything went really well. I was having the time of my life until disaster struck. So I'll get into that a little bit later, but until then, enjoy the video. You're probably wondering what this is next to me here and what I'm doing. And yeah, it's been a while since I've made a video. It's kind of the pattern lately is, I guess, just trying to find the time to sneak away and do this stuff is a lot harder than it once was. And, you know, kids and job and everything else will do that to you. And just the desire to go out and film after, you know, working 60 hours in a week is pretty low. This is a Yamaha TW200. It is a trail bike. It is not a highway bike. It is not anything other than a go out in the woods and bounce around with your friends kind of deal. So I think they're a cool bike. I've always wanted one, so I bought one. But that's not what today's video is about. Today's video gets a little bit further into the weird. I've outfitted this bike over the past few months with everything I need to make a cross-country trip on it. Short of a mountain bike, I can't think of anything more ridiculous to go on a long road trip with, which is exactly why I'm doing it. It's inherently more dangerous probably than using a bike made for something like this, but the adventure level of using something like a trail bike to do a cross-country trip on is through the roof. I don't know, I like being different, I like doing things that no one else does or whatever, and lots of people have these bikes and they make camping trips and things like that with them, but going cross-country is something only a few people have done on them. And I think there's a guy that went to Alaska on one, which is pretty badass. I think he went from Utah to Alaska, and I think someone else took one to the North Pole, like in the 80s or 90s. They're definitely bulletproof and they're definitely capable of doing it. It's just the comfort level, you know, overall like freeway speed or highway speed. I'm definitely not taking this on the freeway. It's mainly back roads. But you really have to pay attention to what you're doing at all times. You got to keep your head on a swivel. I mean, cars come up on you really fast going down the highway and stuff. So always watching your mirrors and pay attention to what's going on in front of you, behind you, to the side of you. Everything's very important on a small bike. It's 200 cc's. Actually, I mean, it's a TW200, but I think it's like 196 cc's, so definitely down there as far, I mean, it's mini bike level power. I think it has like 12 horsepower. It's a 5-speed. It's definitely a crazy, fun toy to have. I guess this video, I'm going across the country, well, not all the way across, but my goal is to ride from Boise, Idaho to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where my parents live. Surprise my dad, it's his 70th birthday coming up here later in the week, so I wanted to show up there. He doesn't know I'm coming. He definitely doesn't know I'm coming on this, so I'll have to film that interaction when I get there. I'm gonna do it. I left yesterday. I didn't film much yesterday. I left Boise, Idaho, and I made it about 300 miles to Idaho Falls, which is the very far east side of the state, basically going from the west side of the state to the east side of the state. I took 2-lane highways. I took some gravel for about 25 miles, 30 miles of gravel, which was really fun, but you don't make up much time taking gravels. And I guess the goal isn't to race, but I do have limited vacation time, so I gotta kind of make it fairly quick. I took a highway, went through a few small towns. You know, I was able to maintain like 45 to 55, maybe 60 downhill, but 50 to 55 is kind of the sweet spot with the bike. I don't feel like I'm straining it too much, but yet I can kind of keep up with, I think it's a 65-mile-an-hour road, so I'm not completely a roadblock like you would be, say, on like a pedal bike. But it was never like, I was never real scared or anything in traffic. If I got a car that needed to pass, I just pull off on a pull off and let them by. And like I said, if they're in a hurry, I'm not. I'd rather not have someone tailing me on a little bike. pulled over a whole bunch, but the reason I didn't film it yesterday is I wanted to get a hang of like what it was like to ride on the freeway, on the gravels, long distance like that. I mean, I've putted around on it for a while, but kind of wanted to keep my head in the game when it came to focusing on what I was doing without worrying about getting a shot or filming or anything like that. And then by the time I kind of got where I wanted to start filming, there was crazy thunderstorms every direction around me, and my intent was not to stop here last night, but when I was driving around, I seen these storms like building all around me, and dark and rain pouring out of them and warnings and everything else. So I kind of had to cut my trip a little short, and I found a little campground here to stay in Idaho Falls. So I didn't make it as far as I wanted to, but I also didn't want to get soaking wet. My rain gear, I packed kind of funny. I should have had the rain gear more accessible, but I had it kind of far down in one of the saddlebags, and I really didn't want to tear into that. I just wanted to get somewhere where I could set my tent up and stay dry. So that's how I ended up here. Slept in a little bit because I need to let the tent dry out. I mean, it poured all night long, like lightning, thunder, wind. There's tree branches down in the campground here, and so everything I have is soaked. That was outside of the rubber saddlebags there. So kind of wanted to let everything dry out, look the bike over, make sure I do my daily maintenance on it, checking tires, checking the chain, all that fun stuff before I hit the road. I'm going to be filming most of this on GoPros that are on the bike. If I can keep them running long enough, I have like an extended battery for one of them, so hopefully I'll be able to get most of it there. And then anything that I find interesting or I stop and camp and stuff along the way, I will use my big camera for. I brought a fishing rod so I can do some fishing when I get toward home, which is South Dakota. I guess that's my home. I kind of want to camp in one of my favorite areas there if I make it, and just do a little fun lazy fishing. So I packed a fishing rod, maybe do a catch and cook if I catch something. Like, I know it's a good walleye fishing spot and there's catfish and stuff too, but I obviously don't have my boat with me, so kind of limited to what I can do. I don't know how much crazy fishing I'm gonna feel like doing, but I might just cast a line out, night crawler or something, and see if I catch anything. It's kind of gonna be an epic adventure, you know, something I've never done, totally outside my comfort zone, which is what makes it exciting and extremely scary at the same time, which is kind of where my head is. I'll give you a quick tour of my campsite from tonight, and then we'll start the adventure off today. And I'm hoping to make it to eastern Wyoming today, probably about 400 miles, give or take. I like to have a dedicated stopping point, so I've been looking at campgrounds on the map. I've identified a couple places that look like they'd be a decent spot to stay, and so we'll see how far I can make it. I don't want to give up on this, man. When I woke up this morning, my body hurt so bad. I thought, you know what, I'm still within range of home. I should just turn this thing around and go back, but I'm not a quitter, and I will ride until I absolutely can't ride anymore. Hopefully that's my end destination. I think it's about 1,400 miles from Boise to Sioux Falls, the direction that I'm taking. I'll show you my campsite real quick, and then I'll start packing up all my stuff and we'll hit the road. This is my little camp spot that I rolled into about 10 minutes before the storms hit last night. Kind of cool. Like I said, I'm in Idaho Falls. It's right next to the river here. I think this is the Snake River. Decently scenic campground for pretty much being in town. So I brought a little one-man backpacking tent, and I'm telling you, this is a Walmart special. I have nicer tents at home, but you know, this one packs up pretty small and doesn't take up much space, so that's what I got here. I did treat it with you know, water repellent before going on the trip, and it held up really, no leaks or anything during the crazy storms last night. As you can see, we got branches and leaves, and yeah, there's a branch down up there. It was pretty wild for an Idaho storm anyway. I mean, I'm from South Dakota and I've seen way worse, but I had no shelter. That was it. This is my TW200. It's a 2022. I bought it pretty much brand new from a guy who had it for a year and a half or so and just never rode it, so pretty much had no miles on it. I outfitted it with everything I need for the trip. I have a little backpacking chair that's aluminum that doesn't take up much space. It folds up. And then I brought too much crap. Like I said, all this stuff here that you see was in this box, so I'm trying to organize it better so I can keep bottles of water and stuff colder instead of just riding on top. I can kind of bury them in there. And then, like I said, I got saddlebags, camera gear, and everything else. A little seat cover that doesn't work. Fun fact, the dollar store in Arco, Idaho bailed me out here because this is a Mad Dog seat cover, and had mixed reviews, so I thought I'd try it. It sucks. My butt hurts. After about 200 miles, it was really hard to sit down. I found myself standing a whole bunch, trying to stretch my back and my butt out. It's not the nicest thing in the world, but can put that there and gives me a little more padding to sit on. Try to find something different. I was hoping like a stadium seat cushion or something, but for now that'll work. And then I got the Garmin Zumo XT, which is for like, it's a GPS system for off-road. Has like BLM campgrounds and all that fun stuff in there. So that's the vehicle right here. Keep me going for the next week and a half or so. Anyway, gonna pack up camp here, and right before I hit the road, I'll touch base with you and we'll get going towards South Dakota. Stay tuned. All right, after a slow morning of letting all my crap dry out, my camping chair, my tent, pretty much everything was soaked. I let it sit in the sun for a little bit. The seat too, the seat on the bike was soaking wet. That's something I'll have to figure out. If it's gonna rain, maybe like put a tarp over it or something, but all right, I got everything packed up on the bike. It's kind of how I got it arranged. And I'm not sure where my next stop is. I'm full of gas. I'm thinking I'm gonna try to get somewhere in the middle of Wyoming or maybe even eastern Wyoming. So anyway, update on the trip, Idaho Falls to we don't know where yet, and I guess we'll talk again when I get where I'm going. So wish me luck. Alright, I wanted to stop the video here real quick. This is the part where I actually crashed, and I wanted to kind of lay it out before you actually see it. Basically, I was driving this way, a car was coming at me this way. There was like a piece of wood in the road, like a piece of firewood or a big stick, and that car hit it and it came into my lane, and I tried to swerve to miss the piece of firewood or the piece of wood, and when I swerved, what it did is it wasn't a severe swerve, it was just a minor swerve, but what it did is it upset the front of the bike and it put it into one of those crazy wobbles that I've seen videos of and never experienced myself, and that was really scary. So the bike starts going crazy like this. You can even see my back and shoulders in the video shaking like this, and it took the bike all the way to the guardrail. I got on the brake as best I could and steered the bike right to the guardrail, hit the guardrail, I went over. I'm really thankful that there was no one riding my butt at that point in time or tailgating me, because I probably would have got run over. And so it was really nice that I was by myself at that point in time. And as you see, a really nice guy from that lives over that way stopped by to help me to make sure, you know, first off that I was all right, and then help me kind of tie a piece of fabric around my foot because I needed to stop the bleeding out of my foot. The crash actually wore through my boot right into my foot. So in hindsight, riding boots would have been a wise thing. And yeah, we'll get into that scene next.
Helmet on, and
That's always the goal, is to not die when you do this shit.
It's like gushing out of there, man.
yeah, we better figure out what's going on there.
I don't know what just started. Thanks for stopping, bro.
Yeah, coming out here.
You're the man. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
All right, now that the crazy part's over, I know I'll probably get a little hate for this video for first off taking a small little motorcycle on a trip like that. To me, it sounded fun. I could have bought a KLR, I could have bought a big bike and done it like everybody else. I just thought this would be something fun and maybe a bit of a challenge that would, you know, make for a more interesting video and more interesting adventure for myself. Anyway, I also probably should have had better safety riding gear on. I had some hiking / hunting boots on. I did have a nice helmet. I had some nice gloves on, but I didn't have riding pants. I didn't have riding boots. I should have had a riding jacket. It would have saved me from some of the injuries that I ended up getting. After this, I ended up at the Idaho Falls hospital over there where I got some stitches. I was there for a couple hours. They cleaned out all my road rash wounds, which was Very interesting when they're digging gravel out of your skin. I never want to experience that again. And they did a really nice job. I got all stitched and bandaged up. And then it probably took me about 3 weeks to finally be able to walk normal again without a limp. So crazy sequence of events. This is one of those trips that I could probably try again 5 times and never have an incident. But sometimes when it's your time and things out of your control kind of jump in there. The worst part is my pretty much brand new bike. It's not totaled, but it has severe damage. The frame is good, the forks are good, but pretty much everything bolt-on that bike is damaged. The handlebars bent. It was just a crazy, gnarly crash, and just a lot of road rash on the bike. You'll see in some of the pictures it's stripped down to pretty much just a frame because everything else was junk. But luckily for me, the insurance is paying for it to fix it, so I got to get it into a shop and have it all put back together with new parts. The motor was good, the wheels, tires, brakes, all that. The running gear of it was good, but basically everything that was bolt-on that thing was trash. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching the video. It was a crazy day. I don't want to experience it again, but at least I survived to show you guys some crazy footage. And you know, hopefully I can get out and make some more content soon. Probably go back to the truck camping thing for a while. Probably no moto camping trips for me for a little bit. So anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by, and we'll catch you on the next video.